answer. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Mr. Koushik Bose, who will talk about natural resource management. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Okay, can I share my screen?
Yes,
And
you try it. It's working.
yeah, okay. And before that, can you give me a brief about who all are joining today, apart from like you and I? Like,
Yeah.
s- is the screen visible?
Japan. Yes, it is visible.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Koushik Bose, and I represent Azeedo Private Limited. Azeedo is an upcoming startup from the state of Jharkhand. We are located in Dhanbad, Jharkhand, and we have our offices and our offices are in Bangalore. We have offices in Vishakhapatnam. We have our presence in Orissa. We have our presence in Chhattisgarh. We have our presence also in Delhi, in UP, and other regions as well. Today, I have been invited over here to talk about natural resource management. And natural resource management again is a very broad topic. So my work or our company's work is particularly focused on using plants as a natural resource or plant as a natural resource, and we have focused our work on utilizing the plant natural resource to create value-added products that natural resource. So that's what Azeedo is all about. Azeedo is a agricultural startup that is actually working on manufacturing agro input products or crop input products using plant or plant as a natural resource. And I will share in detail how we do that, how we do what we do. So all those things will come a little later. Cool. Let's begin with the problem that we have identified, or the problem that we address through our solutions. The land of Bharat loses around 1.5 lakh crores worth of crops annually due to pests and diseases. And in a country where 200 million people go to bed hungry every night, crop losses due to pests and diseases is a massive, massive problem. Now, in order to solve crop losses problem, uh, the uh, the existing solutions or the solutions that are currently present in our country are development of pest-resistant crop with the help of biotechnology, but that looks like a distant dream to be implemented in the entire country. Then we have chemical agriculture products like chemical pesticide, chemical fertilizers, chemical fungicides. But again, repeated uses of chemical agriculture products has long-term detrimental effect on the environment. And then there are organic or biological agriculture products like organic fertilizers, organic pesticide, organic fungicides. But because of the because of high cost of organic products and poor efficacy of organic products, it is not being able to replace chemical agriculture products in total. As a result of the poor efficacy of organic products, we find that even today, less than 3% of the entire farming population in the country have been able to switch to organic agriculture products. Nevertheless, these solutions are present, and farmers are currently using these solutions. Particularly, the chemical agriculture products are being used by farmers to stop crop losses or to increase their crop yield and agricultural yield. So, to see how effective a chemical agriculture products, how what are the effects of chemical agriculture products crop yield and farmers' income, we did was we did small pilot studies in Purvanchal, UP, and we onboarded very small farmers having less than 1 acre landholding capacity and growing vegetables like ridge guard, sponge guard, lady fingers. What we observed that before April 2025, using chemical agriculture products, these small scale farmer reported an average income of around 18,000 rupees from one crop cycle. The crop yield reported by these farmers were around 1100 kgs, and the average agrochemical input cost was around 2500 rupees. But something changed after April 2025. Their income increased by 18% from 18,000 to 22,000. Their crop yield also increased by 7% from 1100 kgs to 1200 kgs. Their input cost reduced by 40% from 2500 to 1500 rupees. And their input quantity for per crop cycle or per land area also decreased by 50% from 800 ml to 400 ml. What exactly changed? The major change that the farmers adopted was that they let go. They did not use the traditional chemical agriculture products that they had at their that had, that they had their hands on. Rather, they adopted a newer product called Azeedo Shield instead of using the chemical agriculture products. So, what exactly Azeedo Shield is? Azeedo Shield is a unique, first of its kind crop input product that not just protects crop from pests and diseases, but also increases crop productivity. Therefore, reducing the input cost for the farmers and increasing yield at the same time. So the benefit of the farmer is that the farmer gets to use an organic product which is priced at a competitive pricing of a chemical agriculture products, but gets the benefit of multiple products at the same time. So one product, one organic product, is also increasing yield as well as protecting crops from sucking pests and fungal diseases. So this is what our product is all about. But our topic is not just about this product. Our topic is about natural resource management. So here comes the uniqueness of our product. What is the technology behind it, and how natural resource is being used to manufacture or to utilize this product or to make this product. So the natural resource that we're talking about here is a weed or a wild grass. So we have identified a locally growing weed, a weed of zero economic value, a weed that grows throughout the year and is currently the most invasive weed species. Using this weed, we have extracted phytochemicals. Now, what exactly are phytochemicals? Phytochemicals are the naturally occurring chemicals that are present inside a plant, and we have technologies, we have methods to extract those phytochemicals and then use those phytochemicals if it can be used. Use those phytochemicals as a product. So what we did with this naturally occurring weed, we identified this locally growing weed, and we extracted phytochemicals from it. Using these phytochemicals, we created a unique plant-based liquid formulation that, when sprayed on the crop, protects the crop from any diseases, particularly fungal diseases and sucking pests, and also increases crop productivity at the same time. Now, the reason we have opted, or the reason we chose a particular type of raw material, is because this particular weed has infested more than 65% of cultivable agricultural land in our country. This weed has invaded more than 30 countries and is found across 5 continents. We attempt to use this abundant natural resource and create a valuable crop input solution out of it. Uh, Currently, what we observed is that this particular natural resource is since it's a wild grass or it's a waste weed, the current solution to address this problem, or this the natural resource problem, is eradication, and farmers have to spend a huge sum of money on eradication of this weed, either by using weedicides, or manual labor by uprooting the weed, which further increases the input cost for the farmer. So essentially, when we utilize this natural resource to create a affordable organic crop input solution, what we are doing is we are working on the principle of reducing, reusing, and recycling of agricultural weed waste, which is again the topic in question here, natural resource management. Is that we are reducing, reusing, and recycling of agricultural weeds, an abundant natural resource again, to create affordable organic crop input solutions for every farmer of the country. Now, to put certain things into perspective, uh, we have to understand why a solution like this is needed in our country today. When I started my presentation, I told you that even today, less than 3% of farming population have been able to completely switch to organic agriculture products. Now the question comes here is why? Why it's not like there aren't organic agriculture products present. You can do a Google search and you can see multiple organic products in the market. Like you can see neem-based agriculture products, you can see microbial-based agriculture products, which are the two major organic products that are present in the market. But again, and even though those kind of products are present, farmers are still not willing to use organic products. Farmers are still reluctant to switch to organic agriculture, and there are three main reasons for that. The first reason, which is the biggest concern for farmer, is the cost. Now, when you see organic products, these are manufactured from valuable commodities or valuable natural resource like neem, for that matter. So when you make a product out of a valuable natural resource, then automatically the end product price goes up, and therefore when it comes to price, the current organic products went to the market is unable to compete with the chemical alternatives went in the present. Second, second problem that we have faced that farmers face for organic, or that stops farmer from switching, is the effectiveness of the product. Now, organic products are very specific to certain kind of pests, certain kind of diseases, certain kind of plants where it will show a very good result. Now, that's again a concern, because a farmer would want a product that not just works on certain diseases, but actually provides comprehensive protection on multiple different types of pests and diseases. And the third factor for which prevents farmer from switching is that organic products again can be used, shows very good effectivity in certain agroclimatic zone. But a country like India, which is such a large country, which has so many different ecological regions, you need a product that actually shows desirable results in different agroecological zones. So that's what we have done. We have created a product from a natural resource that is priced comparative to a chemical alternatives in the market, that works on different types of plants, that works on different types of fungal, that protects plants crops from different fungal diseases and different sucking pests, and then also works in different agroecological zone. So essentially, we have been able to address all the three major reasons why farmers were unable to switch to chemical alternatives, or switch to organic alternatives. I beg your pardon, organic alternatives. That's the product that we have talked. That's basically everything about our startup, or everything about our product. I will also show some use cases of our product. But before that, let's focus on the uh, how you guys will be able to utilize. Like, let's say this is a business opportunity that we have identified, but and we are using very one specific type of natural resource, or one specific type of weed. But that's not the only weed present in the world or in the nation. There are many type of different plants present in our nature. What the whole idea of this, what I perceive, the whole idea of the session or this call is to make you guys or give you the ways of how you can also do the same thing. So for to understand that, we have to go back in time, and I'll tell you a story of how we were able to utilize, or how we were able to come up with this idea, because that's the main question. It's coming up with an idea is what innovation is all about, and that's what we are here to discuss, is how we can utilize, or what is the best way to address or utilize natural resource. So I will go back in time in 2019, 2020, when I was in my engineering. And that's a critical challenge of natural resource management. That is the critical thing of natural resource management, is observation. Observation is the critical thing of how you can actually be able to utilize natural resource. So let's give you how we were able to observe this, or how we were able to identify this natural particular resource. So I did my engineering from Odisha, and it's from a tier 3 or tier 4. It's a rural area, a place in Odisha called Gunpur. It's a place in this Raigara district of Orissa. And in my own college, our college is a lush, big campus in Gunpur. And we have, in our campus, there is multiple wasteland, like barren lands, which are not being used. In my own department, in front of my department, there was a barren land. And that land itself was infested by weeds, or in this case, we will address weeds, that's natural resource. Now, to define weed, how do we define weed? Weeds are basically wild plants that grows uncontrollably. And it doesn't need any kind of. It grows on its own. Weeds generally tend to have a higher growth rate, smaller life cycle. They are in by inherently invasive in nature. So, in my own university, I was able to identify one such particular type of weed. I am unable to name that particular weed, because we are still in the process of getting the patent for the product. But its weed is basically an umbrella term for plants that grows in the wild and grows uncontrollably. Cool. So what we did was, identifying the weed was not the innovation over here. Observing how the weed works, observation of the product life cycle of the weed, is what led to the birth of our company, or what led to the birth of our product. So what we observed about this weed was that, this weed has a very high growth rate, grows within 6 weeks of time. This weed remains, well, like, let's say, in a region, there is this weed growing, and there are other plants growing as well, because it's not like the weed, it grows naturally everywhere. So you will find it can grow in your backyard. It can grow in your agricultural fields. It can grow in your construction region. Anywhere, this natural resource you will find this natural resource. So when we observed this natural resource, what was the thing that piqued our interest was that this particular natural resource was not being affected, or by any kind of disease. And on the same time, the plants that were growing in the adjacent region, they were affected by diseases. They were affected by fungal diseases. They were affected by pest attacks. But our natural resource was somehow immune to any diseases, particularly. So that was one observation that made us believe that this particular natural resource is different from the normal plants or in the surrounding region. So that was observation number one. Second observation was when we started reading about this particular weed. And that's what you also have to do. It's just not the observation. You also have to increase your knowledge base about, let's say, if you want to tap into a natural resource, particularly a plant natural resource, you have to know inside out about that natural resources, and only then you will be able to get some ideas of how to utilize that. Or that's when the management part comes in natural resource, is when you start observing a natural resource. And when I say observation, I mean knowing the natural resource as your own baby. So the second observation was, when after we read about this wheat, is that this wheat was not just growing in my backyard, not just growing in my state in Orissa. It was growing everywhere in the country, and not just in the country. As I told, it has invaded more than 30 countries for that matter. And again, it's not a native plant of our country. It's a plant that has been that has invaded our country for that matter. It's an invasive weed species, and then it has and it's the property of the weed that it was able to adapt to our conditions, or to adapt to our environmental conditions, and then make it its own, and then grow rapidly. So the second observation was that it is going everywhere in the country. I've gone to Himachal Pradesh. I've found this weed. I've gone to the southern part of the country. I found this weed. I've gone to the eastern part of the country. I found this weed everywhere in the countries. This weed was growing. So this led to the second observation, or the second thing, second feature of the product, which is the product will be working in different agroecological zones, because the raw material from which we are manufacturing the product is growing in different agroecological zones. And the first observation led to the first property of the product, which is protecting crop from multiple kinds of diseases, multiple fungal diseases, multiple sucking pests. Because again, it all it all boils down to the weed that we are talking about, or the natural resource that we are talking about, because the natural resource is also protecting itself from different diseases. So that means the weed or the natural resource is having some unique properties which is making it special. So all we needed to do was find out what that special thing about that weed is. And being a biotech graduate, it was then easy for me to, because majorly a plant, or you take any plant for the matter, if it shows some unique property, or if it shows some unique activity, it is mainly more or less because of the phytochemicals or the chemicals present in that plant. So the two observations was done, and then the third observation came, is that, like, okay, people, I'm not the first one to, I have to assume that I'm not the first one to identify this weed. So people before me also must have noticed this weed. It's not like this weed is present in our country since 1947. So what are the and since it's a wild grass, how are in current time are we addressing this wild grass concern? Like, what are the research, or what are the papers that have been written about this particular raw material? And that's when when we got to know about this particular natural resource, we found that people mostly think of eradicating this particular natural resource, because it is not very it has made a very how would I categorize it? It is kind of an obnoxious weed, and it has been categorized as that. Now, here comes the school of thought that is needed in order to add management to a natural resource. The school of thought that I am talking about here is, see, there are two different school of thoughts when you see natural resource. One school of thought is this natural resource is a problem. Is you cannot use this natural. It's a problematic natural resource. And when I talk particularly when it comes to weed, there are particularly two different school of thought. One is see it as a problem and eradicate it. And then comes the second school of thought, which is what our school of thought is that we believe in the principle of that everything in this nature has to have some use to it, otherwise it won't be there. So that school of thought actually was the fuel behind our startup. we observed it not as a problem. We saw it not as a problem, but we saw it as again, like the name suggests, natural resource. And that's when we thought, okay, if we are able to utilize this natural resource, or which is so abundant in the country, then we will be able to create, or we will be able to scale some impact in the agricultural ecosystem. And that's what we did. We collected this particular natural resource, this particular weed. We extracted the phytochemicals out of. We realized, we read about it, why people saw it as a nuisance, and then we addressed those concerns of people by different ways. Again, those are very specific technical things. I'll not bore you with those things, but the crux of it is that we collected this weed, we extracted phytochemicals out of it, we analyzed those phytochemicals, we found those phytochemicals is having properties like antifungal, antibacterial. We then added some more essential oils to it to create a comprehensive product, a comprehensive organic product, which will not just protect, which will not be just protecting crop from diseases, but will also be able to improve the soil quality as well as the crop quality. And there we had, and then that's when we had it. We had a product, an organic product. We were addressing the three major issues of organic product through a natural resource, again made from a natural resource. First was high cost. So we addressed that because now we are getting this manufacturing this product from a weed or a natural resource which has zero economic value. So we are able to manufacture a product or sell the product at a price which is lesser or comparative to the chemical alternatives in the market. Second, our product, again, because of the natural resource property, shows efficacy against multiple fungal diseases and multiple sucking pests. And third, again, because of the property of the natural resource to grow in different agroecological zones, our product also shows impact or results in different agroecological zone. So that's how that's basically the crux of how we saw a natural resource and how we were able to manage that particular natural resource. Now I'll quickly show you guys the impact of all the things that how impactful a natural resource can be if used correctly. If used, if human intelligence and natural resources merge together, it will be able to. You will be able to create a product which, if not better than synthetic, will be equivalent to a synthetic product. So our goal so we did some validation studies on millibugs and we've observed that our product was able to control 100% millibugs infestation just within 24 hours of application of the product. Millibugs is one of the major pests of the country, causing up to 60% in yield losses. And again, to put that into perspective, that we are the current solutions used by farmers to control millibugs infestation is a synthetic product by the biggest agrochemical company in the world, Bayer's. Their synthetic product name is Movento Energy, and that product is taking around 48 to 96 hours for 100% millibug control. So you can see the impact a product like this can make. Wait, 100% millibugs infestation control within 24 hours is unheard of, and it is only possible because we were able to use a natural resource and then create a product out of it. And not just millibugs. It's we also have, and when you if you will compare the cost of these two products, you will see that since our product is from a wild weed, we will be able to sell it at only 1,500 rupees a liter, whereas synthetic products are being sold at 4,000 rupees or 4,030 rupees a liter. So that's the beauty of utilizing natural resource. That's the aim of today's session, is how you can also create similar products, how you can also create similar solutions. All you need to do is observe, or is to be a keen observer of natural resources, see how they behave in the nature, and then formulate something out of it if you can. And I'm pretty sure everyone can. If we can, everyone can. Now, not just mealybug is a pest, but I talked about fungal diseases as well. So we also our product also showed very good results on wilting, stem rot, fruit rot, early blight, showing 90% to 100% control of these diseases. Uh, yeah, and also we've observed very good yield improvement in chili, among around 19% yield improvement of chili. Now this is more or less what we have done, and I'll be now opening the room for questions and answer. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Koushik, for the detailed presentation. Now we will take
Thank
up
you.
some questions.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So the first question is, what are the key natural resources farmers should focus on managing sustainably?
Mm, But, ma'am, weeds particularly is the first thing that farmers have to focus on, because if you see the input cost for farmers and if you speak to them, the major factor that increases the input cost for the farmer is weedicide. So if the farmer is able to, and weeds are commonly found in agriculture region, and farmers are actually, it's a headache for the farmer, so they have to use labor for manual operating of the weed or weedicides, which increases the input cost for the farmer. So, in my personal professional opinion, a farmer has to focus on weed and see it and not as a nuisance, but as an opportunity. Only then there will be ways where solutions like ours will come up, and there will be a whole talk or conversation around managing weeds sustainably. Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, how can farmers improve soil, water, and biodiversity management on their farms?
How can they improve?
Yes.
See, this is known, I think, to every farmer. Crop rotation is one such way of improving nutrient in soil. Managing, I would say, managing would be again, proactiveness is one thing where you can manage. Being up, keeping yourself updated with technologies going around in the world is another way to manage the farm beautifully. And then crop and then actually knowing is one such thing. So for the problem that we have identified is majority of the farmers mostly depend on the regional agri dealers for the crop protection products. So they sometimes are not the decision maker of which product they are going to put into their farm. So they, let's say, a farm. What I have observed, again, I don't want to make some generic statements, but what I've observed with these farmers is that, let's say, a farmer is suffering from wilting, and the farmer is not aware of that particular disease. What he will go do, or he or she will do, is they might click a photograph and then go to the nearest agri dealer shop or the local agri dealer shop, show them that diseases, and then whatever the agri dealers pushes into the gives to the farmer, he or she trusts the agri dealer, and they use it. Now, here's the catch: agri dealers are business oriented person. They are not wage for farmers, so they would push those kind of products which has higher margin, or and the, uh, and sometimes certain kinds of products are not always needed for certain kinds of diseases, or certain kinds of products are not always needed for certain kinds of crop, soil type, and it is because of that particular region over use, because the livelihood of a farmer is dependent on their on their agri output. So farmers are mostly skeptical about it. So what they do is that once they get hands on their product, and just to be on the safe side, as a preventive measure, as a precautionary measure, they overuse the product, which other further reduces, which has a negative impact, or it's how would I? There's a word for it. It would have a negative impact. So those are the sort of two things. If a farmer can know about the kind of disease it is, and how normally, because everything is available, today, and it's not like it is some rocket science. It's very easily accessible. The information is easily accessible. So if farmers can actually know what the disease is and what is the preventive measure from that, then I think it would show drastic improvement in the soil quality, because that would then further lead to using the right kind of products, or not overusing the products at hand. So I think those are the two things. The main thing would be crop protection, one of them, and then B would be to knowing about your crop, your plant, your the diseases that are being aware and how they are being solved currently. So yeah, these two things then.
Okay. And next question. Okay. Um, how can integrated farming systems help in better resource utilization?
One second.
How can integrated farming systems help in better resource utilization?
How can integrated farming system help in better resource utilization? Right.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay. How can uh, see. Mm, how can I'll actually have to get back on this right now. Little out of words. How? Do you have any other questions? I'll get back to you on this
Okay.
actually.
Okay. Sure. No problem. I will take the next question. Um, what role does community participation play in managing common resources like water bodies and grazing lands?
What role
I'll just put it
does?
in the chat box one
Yeah, yeah.
second.
Can you please try to put it in the chat, maybe?
Yes. And you can stop sharing the screen.
Oh, once. Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I posted in the chat box.
Yeah, yeah. Just what role does community participation play in managing common resources like water bodies and grazing lands? Okay. Yeah. So it is actually very important in community participation. So let's talk about. I'll actually answer this question of how we have also involved community participation in our methods of managing the natural resource. Uh, so let's say in our case, we are actually talking about a wild grass. So it we faced a challenge of how we would be because this is not an organized industry. The particular weed in concern grows rapidly and is of in very haphazard manner. Uh, so so what we did to in our and our major challenge was to how do we go ahead and collect this particular natural resource. So that's when we took the help of community participation. Is when we reached out um, mm, to uh, to farming community. We told them about this particular natural resource, and we gave them a proposition that we will be collecting. You give us this particular uh, natural resource, and we in return we will give you a product which will which will improve your particular yield, crop yield. So basically this was more like a barter system. But if like overall, if you see what community participation does is that it helps ensure that everyone's needs are considered and that resources are used sustainably for the long term. Local communities like often have valuable traditional knowledge about certain kinds of resources, and then their involvement is becomes very crucial for developing effective and fair management plans. And the most important thing in this community participation is that it develops or it fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility. So it somehow becomes your own, and that's the important role of community participation. Yeah.
Okay. And okay. How can farmers adopt natural resources management practices under climate change?
Can you put that into the chat, your
How,
question?
yeah,
How farmers adapt? Well, let's see. Again, I think it is mainly under observations. Actually, the farmers have to observe how the natural resource that they want to tap into is actually changing according to the climate change. I mean, that's the key here. At least what I would do, and if I were the farmer here. But I think that's the main thing. Key observation of the natural resources being. Mm, it's not just about survival anymore. Actually, it's about outsmarting us shifting climate. So for farmers, this would mean moving away from business as usual, and moving towards practices that build resilience and regeneration. Uh, so uh, so let's talk about water management. So like with rainfall becoming unpredictable, like sometimes you get too much at once and none for month, and then nothing, no rainfall happens for months. Uh, what farmers can do is they can build farm ponds as a method of rainwater harvesting. They can check dams. They can build trenches to catch water wherever. So again, they have to observe, and then only then can you build certain things where. They can you can implement, or you can you can create solutions that can help you recharge the local groundwater. Then there is a concept of precision irrigation. So what the farmers can do is that they can shift from flood irrigation to maybe drip irrigation or sprinkler systems, which will help them reduce the water waste, because that will directly put water into the root zone of the crop. There is another concept of laser land leveling, where you can ensure that the fields are perfectly flat, and then it will prevent water from pooling in some region, because water pooling is again causes has negative or adverse effect on the crop, because that can lead to some diseases if you see water accumulating in certain region. Now, talking about the soil health thing, I think uh, s- see healthy soil. In order to ensure you have healthy soil, what you the major thing is again um, like conversion, you can use different methods like composting is one the way of rejuvenating the soil. Using products like ours can help in rejuvenating the soil, and mostly it is about diversification. There's a saying, na, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It is the same thing. You have to be able to adapt to climate change by diversifying your portfolio, which is true for everything, I think today. So yeah, I think that's how farmers adapt to farmers can adapt. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And one sec. Okay. What technologies can help in monitoring and conserving natural resources
Monitoring natural resources. Okay.
and conserving
uh,
natural resources?
um Technology, well, like you can like our one way is again utilizing it to maybe create value added products. But that is our way of doing it. But we can use AI and satellite data to uh, to uh, to maybe predict something before it happens. Then there is lidar sensing as well, like where you can use lasers to create 3D maps of your agricultural land or forest region. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I was getting a call. And then there are IoTs and sensors that can help farmers, and there are companies that are working on that IoTs and sensors, where you can actually measure moisture, pH, nutrients in real time, and these are all methods of precision agriculture. Um, Basically, these are the ways of actually doing this. So soil is there is a concept called multispectral imaging, which will prevent over fertilization of the soil and erosion. So yeah, yes.
Okay. And yeah. Okay. How can crop diversification contribute to sustainable resource use?
Crop. I think we have already talked about this crop diversification thing. Um, Crop rotation, what it does is that it breaks the pest cycle, and then it balances the soil nutrients naturally. So that is the key reason why farmers should adopt to crop rotation or crop diversification.
Okay. And what government schemes support natural resource conservation in agriculture?
Uh, so I won't be able to tell you about the other, like the common like I have currently I have knowledge about the government schemes that help startups working on natural resources or companies working on natural resources. So there is a scheme of government of called RKVI, Raftar scheme. Under that, you can actually raise funds, and not just startups. I think FPOs can also raise funds under that, and then you can use those farmers can use those funds to discuss all those things that we told, to create some newer business plan. If they want to try new crops, they can use those funds. So basically, it's a grant support from the government, and farmers can use that. Yeah.
Okay.
The support goes up to 25 lakhs and can be as low as 5 lakh, 1 lakh as well, depending on the proposal.
Okay. And
Yeah.
can successful case studies or models of natural resource management be shared for farmers to replicate?
Oh, definitely. Then there is many successful models, and all you have to one for all a farmer has to do, maybe do a basic Google search, and then you will get, being and AI being so usably, and as AI usability has increased, farmers all needs to do is maybe just write the correct sentence, and the rest internet will do that for the farmer.
Okay. Okay. So now last question. Please let us know little about your career background and what made you to start your company Azeedo
I think I've
Private
already
Limited.
spoke about this. So I'm a BTech biotechnology graduate, and I've done MBA in entrepreneurship. And observation of that particular natural resources made me start my company. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. You have any farming background like that in your
No, no, no.
family?
I don't.
Acha. Okay. 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 Okay, Mr. Kaushik. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we'd like to thank you for the presentation and answering all the questions in depth. So we'll be ending this meeting now. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.